INTERCONTINENTAL SPORTS TV. Right there, right now. We got to rate our team. Your team. The special team. I'm a Manchester United fan to the core, to the bone, to the flesh. You don't need the building. What you say, you know what I mean? Saying? If you don't get it, forget about it. It's all about English Premier League tonight, baby. Come on, let's go. I'm telling you categorically, United making it 3, third place in the league, EPL. That's all about. What's your score? Please join us. What are you waiting for? About INTERCONTINENTAL SPORTS TV. You know I'm in the building. In here. Yes, I'm in the building. Live and direct. Not me alone. I have some special important people. ISTV gang. Shaya in the building. Upper in the building. Massive Robbie. Big legend. Lexi. All in the building. It's all about EPL. End of the season. Great for City. That's why we are here. Talk to me. Are you ready? What's going on, bro? Manchester United fans to the core, to the bone, to the flesh. Are you ready?
Yes, boss. I'm ready. Good evening, and good evening to everyone listening all over the world. Yeah, it's a wrap in the English Premier League. What a week! What a Sunday it was. And yeah, Manchester United finishing third. What a very strong season from them. Eric Ten Hag's first season. They have an FA Cup final to come on this weekend.
Tell you, it's going to be loud.
Hopefully they can sign off. Hopefully they can sign off by the end of the season by winning that as well. I would be very, very excited to see that.
All right, Kunle says it's going to be very excited. Let me use that to welcome the same gentleman. He's ready also. Robbie is also ready. Robbie, talk to me. Are you ready? You're welcome to the show, bro.
Good evening to you, Don. Good evening to the guys in the studio. It's good to be here once again. We saw the best of football over the course of the weekend. Oh, in fact, let me just quickly say this. Kunle was in town. Yes, we had a great time in Ibadan over the course of the weekend. Yes, so I got to see his face. I think we spoke about Dortmund, and we both concluded that Dortmund were going to get the trophy. Unfortunately, football happened to them, and they didn't do that. Yes, it's a very, very painful way to lose a league title. A very painful way. And just like Prof and Shaya will say that it is the hope. I think it's the hope that kills, or it is the hope that more or less disappoints people. For the Premier League, it is done and dusted. Leeds are down. Leicester City are down. And I would reiterate it again. They are more or less the architect of their own misfortune. But as it is, we've been able to get 3 new teams. Sheffield United, and of course, Luton Town coming back, and Burnley coming back into the English Premier League. So I think it's going to make the new season that is set to start in August very, very interesting. So we're looking forward to the new season, and of course, it's good to be here once again. Thank you very much.
All right, you see that also, these vibes. I'm going to welcome this great gentleman with this music. Are you ready, bro? Okay, you're live. What's going on, bro? What's going on in UK? You have to tell us tonight. What's going on? What's the atmosphere of Arsenal? Are they feeling? Are they okay? Are they feeling the vibes that they couldn't win the league? Or they are moving on? Or are they in court? Tell us.
It's all good vibes here, the Don. It's all good vibes here, the Don. Arsenal fans are happy. They're happy with the end of the season. Yes, they didn't win the trophy, but a lot and lots of positives from the season. So I'm looking forward to this show, looking to dissect it, and looking to touch on other important moments that went down in the world of football this past weekend.
All right, let's go on to this great gentleman as well too. His team finished 12 in the league. Don't let me tell you the name of the club. You already know. Yeah, the mud was going on, bro. You're looking forward to another season. You can't wait. I know you're going to play that. talk about it. Or your matter is in court. Tell us how you feeling.
Yeah, good evening, the Don. Like I said on Friday, you cannot shame the shameless. So if you keep reminding us that we ended 12th, honestly, you cannot shame us anymore because we've seen we've already gone through so much. We went through so much in the last season. So I guess we can just look forward now. Pleased about the Pochettino appointment, and I wish him the best. And we had a really interesting weekend of football in the Premier League, down at the bottom, and also in the Modest League. And I hope we are able to go into all that during the show.
All right, let me use this question to welcome you once again, Okwe. You are going to tell us the appointment of this great gentleman going to Chelsea. I'm talking about Pochettino. How do you see it? How do you think he can strive in that club? That club doesn't take nonsense. They don't waste time. How do you think he's going to be given a chance to exploit so much more there? Okwe, over to you. How do you see the appointment of Poch in Chelsea?
Definitely, it's a good appointment in terms of the caliber of coach that Chelsea have gone to hire. He's a very good coach. He has Premier League experience. He has been outside of the Premier League as well, coaching Espanyol in the past, and obviously the biggest name, Paris Saint-Germain. But then again, one thing I like is that he will be given, or rather, he has time. He has time in the sense that he's been hired early. Officially, the contract starts on the 1st of July, but multiple reports have already said that he's working with the club on key signings that he wants and that he needs to make his own squad stronger. And hopefully, he's also in unison with the club on concerning the sales that need to be made, because Chelsea have a very, very large squad and they do need to make sales. So I hope he gets good luck and I hope he has time. But honestly, I feel the first 6 months are going to be very important. Chelsea's position come December would probably, determine if Poch is going to be there long term or not.
All right. Let me use that as well to welcome everybody that's watching us anywhere in the world right now. This is Intercontinental Sport TV. On the screen, you go see our live shows, which is going to be on Mondays, every Mondays like this same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Also in West African time, it's going to be 6:30. So what are you waiting for? Join the community, join us. We all talk about sport. We all talk about your best game. I mean, the round leg game right here on the same spot with the music going on the ground. It's not ever a dull moment. This is a channel we are talking about. Also on Friday, guys, it's all about Friday Sport preview show. It's also the same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, and also West African time. It's going to be 6:30 p.m. West African time. Also follow us on Twitter at ISTV_1. What are you waiting for? And on Instagram as well, it's going to be Intercontinental Sport TV. Search us there. On our website, going to be launched before the new season kickoff. It's going to be oneistv.com. Just check it out. It's going to be massive. It's going to be loud. I swear down. We are getting ready for the next season. I am telling you now, it's going to be the Rate Your Team. Rate Your Team. I'm a Manchester United fan. No, don't tell me we didn't do well. And I'm going to start with, okay, let me move up the screen to the next one. Okay. I'm going to start up with you, Shaya, on this one. Manchester United, what's your score? Let me quickly show our viewers. Please smash the like on the video. If you're watching us, subscribe for the first time. You're welcome to the bottom right corner there. Just click subscribe and turn on your notification. It's going to be loud. And right here, right now, I'm going to start up with you, Sheye Omidora. How do you feel this? We have here 10 is going to be excellent. 8 is going to be good. Average is going to be 6. Poor. I know that club that belongs there is going to be 4. And very poor. I know that same club that's supposed to belong there. That club in number 12, I think. I'm sorry, people. I'm so sorry. I'm going to start up with Sheye. On this one, Manchester United, Manchester City. How you go to rate them? Quick one. Go for it.
Well, I'll go for an 8. And
for Manchester City.
Yes, I'll go for an 8. And I think that there's always the tendency to go for 10, which is excellent. But I feel And the reason why I'm giving them an 8 is because I feel the way they were able to respond to several challenges throughout the season. I think we more or less spoke on it on Friday, where we mentioned that they lost two players in the summer in Zinchenko and Raheem Sterling, and even Gabriel Jesus. Um, and they were able to, they brought in Alan obviously, but initially they had issues adapting to Alan and vice versa, even though he was scoring goals. Mid-season, they also had several issues regarding the likes of João Cancelo, who wanted out, who actually left on loan to Bayern Munich. And then even Kevin De Bruyne, I think in a game or two, was actually dropped. I think post World Cup. And then defensively, they were conceding several goals on the counter attack, but Pep was able to adapt his tactics, and eventually they found the balance with the 3-2-4-1 formation that they've been playing in the last 4 to 5 months. So I think the way they were able to come together as a team and actually more or less go on that winning run to win the league was quite impressive. So I'll give them an 8.
Wow. Man City 8 from Sheye. Let me show the face to the viewers watching us. This is the guy that said 8. So all right, says 8. I'm welcoming Prof onto this show. I'm going to ask you, Prof, what's your rating for Manchester City? What's your rating, Prof?
Over 10, right?
Yeah, over 10. Let me show you. This is what we have. Please, if you're watching us for the first time, drop your comments. What do you feel about Manchester City? Are you going to rate them 10? That's excellent. We have 8 as good. We also have average, which is 6. Poor. I know that club that's supposed to be number 4. I mean, poor and very poor. We have it as 1. So, Prof, what do you say about Manchester City? Over to you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I can't give them 10 because it's not like they had a flawless season, I think. So I have to settle for the 8. I wish there was 9 there. I would have given them 9, but then it's 8 that we have. So I'd have to give them 8. I think to come back the way they did and brush us on the side was splendid. It was awesome to see with the style of football. You know, the way they brought out a new style of football.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very, very beautiful to watch. So yeah, I'll give them 8. I'll give them an 8.
Yes, Prof says say 8. On to the next one. I'm going to ask Okpe, what are you going to rate Manchester City? I am telling you, this is the rating we have. We have excellent, good, average, poor, and that staying called very poor. What's your take on this? Okpe Adebari, talk to me. I'm sure you're going to say 10. Go for it, bro. I'm not bribing.
I could say 10. I really wish I could say 10 because this Premier League title completes a three-peat for me. You know, them winning the Premier League 3 years in a row, which is absolutely fantastic if you are considering the type of competition that Manchester City have faced recently. However, the first half of the season was not the best for them. They struggled to find a rhythm, and they struggled to find the right way to play football with Erling Haaland in their team. And the first half of the season, Haaland was honestly just scrambling for goals. Goals were not being made for him, and the team struggled to provide for him. And I think the World Cup came at the right time for them. You know, the break from Premier League football was good for them. Pep had the chance to re-strategize and to think about how to, you know, make the best of the players he had at his disposal. And, you know, come the beginning of the new Premier League season, or rather the second half of the Premier League season, I think the first thing was the introduction of Rico Lewis into the team. And we could see the way Rico Lewis basically played a new transitioning of an inverted fullback, and slowly, you know, they then went to the 3 at the back, and it was touch and go from there. Yes, some players had to be sacrificed, you know, in this new phase of Manchester City, just like Shea had said. But I think the players who came in did a good job. I have to give kudos to the first person, who has to be Manuel Akanji. You know, I honestly wish players like him were still representing Nigeria because he's such an impressive player. You know, he played in multiple positions for Manchester City this season. Right back, centre back. He has been in the middle of the back 3, and he has been at the left of the 3 at the back recently with Nathan Ake's injury, and he played it flawlessly. So I have to give big ups to him. Another man who I have to praise has to be Julian Alvarez. Look, if not for Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez can easily start games for Manchester City and bag goals. He might not score the same number of goals as Erling Haaland, but I can assure you that Julian Alvarez is a 20-plus goal per season striker.
Absolutely.
He's just absolutely sublime. He has played on the right as well. He has played in an attacking midfield position. So he gives Pep different options, So I think it was a very good season for Manchester City.
All right, it's going to be a good season for Manchester City. Mentioned like that from Opeyade Barry, who says it's going to go for 8. Please, we have about 74 people watching us live right now. Please smash a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. Yes, we are growing. We are moving, people. Now I'm going to stretch it up because of our time. We've managed to record people saying 8 for Manchester City. Please, on the screen, we have this. If you want to drop your comments, you can drop your comment about Manchester City. What do you feel? What do you think about it? Is it excellent? Is it good? Is it average? Is it poor? Is it very poor? Please rate them. 84 people watching right now. Come on, let's go, people. And on to the next one. We're looking at this club. Can I answer this one, people? Can I answer the rating for this one? I'm going to start off with you. Robbie, please talk to me. What do you rate Chelsea?
I don't even know where to start from talking about Chelsea. Really, because in as much as a part of me is sympathetic to what has happened to the team, the other side of me is really not so sympathetic because of the fact that appointing a manager in the frame of Graham Potter should not have been something that Chelsea should have contemplated going forward. They shouldn't have done that. In fact, if they had even gone as far as saying that Thiago Silva should be more or less a player and a coach, I think it would have sufficed for the team. Why? Because he's somebody that is respected by his fellow teammates, and is somebody that, yes, you cannot say he's a Chelsea legend, but he's somebody that he gives 100% on the field every time he steps on it. So if Tobole has said, Thiago Silva, you've played this game for a very long time, why not to just take up the role of manager and player? I think Chelsea would have fared better, but that didn't happen. For Chelsea, I would give them a 6 for this season. And why is that? Because for a team that started on a faulty, let me call it foundation, because of the saga that befell Ibrahimovic, as regards the fact that he was more or less forced out or forced to sell the club, and Toboli came on board. I think looking at the prospect of the club and also the tradition of the team should have more or less been the motivation that would have allowed him to pick people that would help him chart the next course of history for this team. But all that being said, I think Chelsea didn't do well this season. And I just read a report before I came for the show that Crystal Palace finished ahead of Chelsea for the first time in their history. So that gives you perspective to how terrible the season has been for Chelsea. And this is one team that is very grateful that they had the final whistle for the last time yesterday. And of course, they are looking forward to a better season when August comes. So for Chelsea, I'll give them a 6. It could have been better, but it didn't go all that way for them.
Wow. Before I call on Margaret to welcome Margaret. Margaret is he's joining us all the way from Lagos. He's going to be a massive moderator. If any one of the crew is saying something different, she'll come in and give us a verdict on this. But let's move on. I'm going to call on Kunle. Kunle, this guy says is giving. I'm talking about Robbie says 6. Do you agree with 6, Kunle? For Chelsea.
Robbie is clearly being sympathetic. He's being sympathetic towards Chelsea. That one is clear. Please, can you put up the score on the? Can you put up the score?
This is it. We have excellence at 10, good 8, average 6, poor 4, and very poor 1.
Please permit me to go. Please permit me to go outside of what you have given. I don't want to be very distant. I am going to give Chelsea 2.
0.
Yes, 2. Yes, I don't want to give them one because one will be very unfair. So let me just give them two. Like they say, two is better than one, right?
It's
So
better than one.
I will give them two. Yes.
All right, I'm going to also talk to Prof as a Chelsea fan, because I'm sure you're going to say one or two things about your club. So I'm giving you this moment to summarize the season for Chelsea and what is your rating as a Chelsea fan. How are you going to rate, or which way are you going to rate your team?
Yeah, quickly. I've said it before. Okay, it's very easy because we've had a very long season, and it's very easy for people to forget how the season started. A lot of things have happened. Look, as Robbie said, it was always going to have an effect. The fact that the Chelsea that everybody knows today is the Roman Abramovich Chelsea. You can't change it so sudden. It wasn't planned for. It's not like a Man U transition where you guys are looking to sell the club. There's preparation. It came from nowhere. That Abramovich had to sell the club. The host of things had to change right from the top to the bottom. People see football on the pitch. It's more than that. It's more than 11 players and all that. But it's easy to judge football like that. So the administrative department, everything collapsed. It's always going to have an effect. And then we go on to the field of play, and then the manager is sacked, and then an inexperienced manager is coming on board, like Robbie said. He hasn't managed a big team before. He fumbled it, and we have to remember the host of injuries Chelsea had. Chelsea were the most, were the team plagued with the most injuries this season. There was a time when about 10 to 12 players to 13, 14 players were out. That was why the guy had to go and splurge the money and buy a lot of players in January. By the time that we had there's James Chilwell, they were all out. Kante, Mount, a host of players were out. So judging by that, it's still a very poor season, to be honest. If I'm going to say, I'll give it a 4, just because of my Chelsea bias. I could easily give them a 1, but because of the Chelsea bias, I'll give them. It's been a poor season, an abysmal season. Even with all those excuses that I've given, we should not find ourselves where we were. But look, there's nothing like, nobody has a monopoly of position or in Premier League. Look at Leicester City; they're out of it. With all the players they have. So once you let your guard down and you fumble, and it takes a couple of results, you find yourself flirting with relegation and things like that, and which Chelsea found themselves. So I would give them a 4. I'll say it's a very poor season. I'll give them a 4.
All right, it's Prof says it's going to give them a 4. Margaret, do we pass it on? Verdict on you, Margaret. Is it set 4? Do you agree with that? On to the next one. On to the next one.
On to the next one, but sorry. Good evening from here, guys.
Yes.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Yes. I think concerning Chelsea, they've all said it. Prof has said it all. But I wish there is anything lower than 1. I think it would have been better to give Chelsea. Or better still, yes. Actually, anything lower than 1, because they had 4 is actually an understatement. But if there is any words that is more that actually worse than poor, very poor, that should be given to Chelsea. Although they tried their best getting players, but I felt that the players were not actually ready. All the players they bought were all panic buys.
Oh, really? All right. I think I lost Margaret there for that verdict. Let's move on to the.
Sorry.
What do you want to say?
Yeah. I have
Kunle.
a question. Yeah, please. It's a question I have for Sheye and Prof, and I would really love honest answers. I don't know if I can ask.
You want to ask a question?
Yes, it's something for Prof and Sheye. I don't know.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, and it's about Chelsea. Now, Mauricio Pochettino has been appointed, right? Off the back of how the team has been this season, it seems Chelsea fans seem to be optimistic about Pochettino, and I seem not to get it, because why they are so optimistic. Like, I remember Sheye said something that Chelsea is a good manager away from being back, and I really want more clarity on that, because the previous managers Chelsea have had, they are good managers with good reputation. Even Graham Potter is a good manager, whether we want to. He is the one who laid the foundation for. Now, that Chelsea is a big club is a different context, right? You've had Thomas Tuchel. Who did they have before Thomas Tuchel? They've had a good line of managers. So sometimes I feel maybe it's not anything to do with the manager because it's a good. So what is Pochettino, for instance, going to do differently now that a highly revered person like Tuchel?
So the question goes to Sheye or Prof.
Yeah.
I'll quickly answer. No, both of us can answer. I'll
Okay.
chip in. I want to
All
ask.
right.
I want to understand your question first.
Yeah.
Before Sheye answers you as well. Your question is what is
Pochettino going to
bring in that Tuchel did not bring?
What is he going to bring or what is Pochettino bringing that is making you all optimistic that Chelsea is going to hit the ground running after what has been an awful season? You understand? In all departments. And knowing that you've spent so much, because I don't think Chelsea is going to start putting out money to spend again when when you can see the amount of players they've bought, because it will be a shame if some of the players who you bought this season will have to be on their way out. You understand? So I see I don't know, but I tend to see potential problems for Pochettino because Chelsea is not in order at all. You understand?
Why do you think they are not in order? Do you think they have good players, or you think they don't have good players?
I feel that they have good players, but if yes, I believe Chelsea has good players, yeah. But if under managers who have had good track records, they were able to calm down so low, to the point that they couldn't even make 50 points.
Which managers?
I think something.
Which managers have good track record? Which managers are you talking about? Lampard and Potter?
No.
Okay, let me just answer you.
I'm talking about Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter.
Thomas Tuchel won the Champions League now, but anyway, let me answer you comprehensively. First of all, Thomas Tuchel won the Champions League, so it's not as if we've been having managers who have been failing. Now, your question is what will Mauricio Pochettino bring to Chelsea? Okay, look, if you're new in England or you're new into football and you've never even heard anything about this manager, you've not watched him handle a team before, all you need to do is just listen to high-class pundits, people who have been in the game before, the likes of Gary Neville and co, how highly they speak about him. And don't forget that a year ago, your team, Man United, were clamoring for Mauricio Pochettino. It was between Pochettino and Eric Ten Hag. They were going head-to-head for the job, and it could have been any of both. Pochettino took a bang average Spurs team to the Champions League final. Is known for, putting in a lot of work in the training ground. He does double sessions every day, which Chelsea need, by the way. If there's anything in that league that needs a manager who's going to give them double sessions daily, it's Chelsea, and that's what Pochettino does. Is very, very adept with football in the training ground. That's what he wants. He wants to drill these players with double sessions, and we have a young player. We have very, very lots of young players in Chelsea that their talent needs to be harnessed. Pochettino did the same thing with Spurs. He made Harry Kane who Harry Kane is today. It was under him that Harry Kane blossomed. The likes of Toby Alderweireld and Vertonghen blossomed. A lot of, that young Spurs team became what they were under Pochettino. So for me, it's an unbelievable job for him, and he knows that himself. And this is a Chelsea team that will still spend. I think you said they will not. No, they will go again. Chelsea will go again because.
All right, let me ask Sheye about his own opinion too, because we have about 92 people watching us live. Please smash the like on the video anywhere you are watching us from. So, Sheye, quick one. What do you feel about the question asked by Kunle?
Yeah, well, I think obviously we cannot underrate the magnitude of the task that is facing Pochettino. But like Prof mentioned, I think the mere fact that this is a young squad is something that actually fascinates me with how Poch will do at Chelsea, because we've seen him work with young squads before. We saw him also lay an imprint on Southampton before even moving to Spurs. And even though he didn't win at Tottenham, but we saw him actually improve that side. He made them become more or less a top four side during his time there. He was able to blood and improve so many youngsters and even young players that needed that high ceilings and room to grow. And in a sense, that's similar to what he faces at Chelsea. Although I know he has to work with the directors there to reduce the bloated squad. I think that's the largest task at hand. And also, I think there needs to be an improvement in mentality because we saw the Chelsea this season. After they considered the goal in most games, they tended to just their heads seemed to drop. They did not beat any team higher than them in the table this season. So those two things have to be improved next year. And I feel in an if in a perfect world, if they're able to let go of the unwanted players, that's going to be the hardest task because when other clubs know that you actually want to sell, they might maybe either lowball you or they might just keep things. They might keep you waiting and then try to make low bids, maybe nearing the end of the window, which will make you panic. So I think that needs to be that's the biggest issue facing Pochettino. So, but generally, the reason why I'm so pleased is because I feel it's a young squad, and if he's able to um, do the same work that he did at Spurs in terms of being able to improve young players, I think Chelsea will be a really good prospect next season and going forward.
All right. All right. Let's move on to the next club. Brighton. Brighton. Okay. How are you going to rate Brighton this season? Don't forget, in our ratings, we have excellence as 10, 8 for good, 6 for average, 4 for poor, very poor is 1. So, how are you going to rate Brighton? Over to you.
Excellent season for Brighton Hove and Albion.
Woo!
Solid 10. Solid 10.
Solid 10.
Yeah, I would start by saying kudos to
Solid
Graham
10.
Potter. Graham Potter laid the foundation for Brighton Hove and Albion, implementing a beautiful philosophy of football there, which he was able to trickle through the academy. Fine, they don't have they don't have a lot of brilliant youngsters from the academy, but I'm glad that he was able to implement that because with time you would see more young players from the Brighton academy like Duncan Ferguson, or rather by like Evan Ferguson coming into the team and making an impact the same way the young lad has done. The last time I was on this show, I reminded everyone of something when Brighton last came to the Emirates, the team they came with, and I'll give that analogy again. And this time I'm giving this analogy, it is to show how wide and far Brighton's scouting system is and
Fantastic.
how they have a good eye for talent. So I start with this. During the 2022-2023 season, the second fixture at the Emirates Stadium between Brighton and Arsenal, Brighton had the following players in their team. They had Marc Cucurella, who they sold to Chelsea for £67 million. They had Yves Bissouma, who they sold to Spurs for £40 million. They had Leandro Trossard, who they sold to Arsenal as well for £25 million. And then they had the retired Ethan Mwepu, who retired due to a heart condition. And who was the other standout there? They had Neil Mopey in the team as well. And yes, those were the key players who played for Brighton. Now in this season, we've got fantastic players who we've seen come out and shine. First of all, has to be Kaoru Mitoma. Mitoma has been, in fact, Mitoma was a revelation for Brighton and the football world in general. Brilliant winger. And then we've got the likes of Dennis Undav, we've got Buononate, but most importantly, we've got Felipe Caicedo, who the big clubs are currently clamoring to sign. And then the young player who came through the ranks, that is Evan Ferguson, who he came in and has done a brilliant job, since the departure of Neil Mopey and then the injury worries of Danny Welbeck. Ferguson has stepped up and he has been brilliant for them. Same thing with Undav. Everyone has contributed with goals when needed. It's been a brilliant team. And what I love the most is that when De Zerbi took over, De Zerbi just took it up a notch. Made them very ruthless in the counter attack.
Oh, serious.
And then again, another man who left in January, who I've even forgotten about, Dan Bond, who went to Newcastle. He left as well. And then Brighton is still standing, and Brighton secured, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe Brighton secured European football. For the first time in their history. So, they did so well for themselves. For a club of their caliber, it was absolutely fantastic. It's a 10 out of 10 season for me. It's excellent. And right now, as I speak, Brighton have acquired the services of James Milner, Joao Pedro from Watford, and then, yet to be confirmed, Mohamed Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund.
Ah, ah.
Those are three quality signings. This is what the big boys do. Brighton is doing it. So kudos to the management, kudos to the scouting team. I absolutely love Brighton Hove and Albion. It was a fantastic Premier League season for them.
All right, let's move on before we do the verdict for Brighton. And also, let's move on to this beautiful club, Liverpool FC. You will never walk alone. I think they're walking alone at Europa League. What's your score? I'm going to start with you, Robbie. What do you feel about Liverpool this season? What's your rating? I have said it. The club rating we are going to look at is 10.
10.
It's excellent.
It's excellent. Good.
Average.
Poor. Very poor.
Okay, well, for Liverpool, I think their season is also another topsy-turvy season. For Chelsea, like I said, you can excuse Chelsea. For Liverpool, I really don't think you can excuse them. So for Liverpool, let me just shoot it straight as it is. I'll give Liverpool a 4. Why? Because this is a team that more or less are flattered to deceive over the course of the season. With Van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, all the signings that they made, there were still games that they just fell off, they fell apart. Imagine a team like Nottingham Forest defeating a team like Liverpool, and you just begin to ask questions as regards what was going on at the club at that point in time. And for a team to have been able to more or less just nick Europa football, let's say let me say it's just very disappointing because I really just don't know what adjectives I need to go with at Liverpool. It's been a very, very disappointing season. At a point in time, they were even close door neighbors or next door neighbors to Chelsea, but they were able to get their acts together very late on. That was in the second half of the season. So for Liverpool, it has been a disappointing season. And of course, a lot of players will also be leaving. Firmino is going to leave. Milner already is gone. So it remains to be seen what Liverpool will be doing in the transfer market. Yes, they are set to get McAllister. That is strong reports linking that player to him. But Arsenal and United also are more or less trying to see if they can get something ahead of Liverpool in getting this midfielder. So for Liverpool, it's going to be a 4 for me. Disappointing season. They could have done better, but this season really did not go well for a lot of teams. So for Liverpool, it's a 4.
All right, says 4. Let's move on to this. Manchester United. I'm going to start off with you, Sheye. What's your rate on this Manchester United before I call on Margaret to summarize the verdict on these 3 teams we've just mentioned? Over to you, Sheye, on this one.
Are you starting with a Chelsea fan?
Let's hear them. Let's hear them.
Hey, I want sentimentalists.
Well, I'm going to surprise you, Margaret. I'll actually give Man U an 8. And that's because I think we need to put things into context. Last season they had a really underwhelming year. Initially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then after when Ralph Rangnick took charge, I remember he said something. I can't remember the exact number, but I think he said they needed. They were maybe about 4 or 5 years behind. Was it Liverpool or Man City? He said something like that. Maybe I'm blanking on the exact quote, but he more or less just said that they were light years behind the leading sides in the Premier League. And then Ten Hag came in. He had a really underwhelming start, losing his opening game against Brighton at Old Trafford, and they were beaten at Brentford. Was it 3 or 4-0? I'm not sure right now. And they lost the derby to Man City, and he also had the Cristiano issues in the first half of the season. But he was able to navigate all that. He was able to adapt to his team. We all know that David De Gea is not really the kind of goalkeeper he wants in his side. He wants someone who can play out from the back, but seeing the weaknesses of David De Gea in that particular situation, he began to tell his keeper to actually play the ball long from goal kick. So he was more or less able to adapt to his team. They suffered several heavy defeats throughout the season, but I feel in general being able to adapt to the team, being able to more or less make Old Trafford a fortress again after the initial defeat has been quite commendable. And they obviously need to improve because I feel they need to evolve the style. There has been an over reliance on individuals this season. Without Casemiro in the side, I feel Man you lack coherence in midfield, and I feel they also relied so much on Rashford for goals up front. So they need to spread the goals around. And in a sense, I think we've seen a bit of improvement from Sancho in recent months, and I hope he can build on that going forward into next season because it's someone that I actually did like when he was at Dortmund, and it was quite painful seeing him suffer in his first season. So I feel the squad still needs to evolve, and hopefully we'll see much better from Man U next season. But for me, I'll give them an 8.
All right, it's going to give them an 8. So we're going to run quickly the verdict for from Brighton, Liverpool, and Manchester United. So I want Margaret to actually give us verdicts. They said Brighton should be 10. If it's 10, we said we can pass on. If it is, they said Liverpool is 4. If it said it's okay by you, they said go on. And they said Manchester United is 8. If everything works for you, you can tell us pass on. If somewhere is wrong, you can actually pinpoint exact point you want us to look at. So, Margaret, how do you summarize these 3 teams? Brighton and also Liverpool, then Manchester United. Quick one. Let's go. Is Margaret with us again? I think I lost. Yeah. Margaret, can you hear me?
Yes, I am here. Okay.
Right,
first of all, I will start with Man United. I will also go with 8. Let me just put Man United overall season in a start. They played 38 games, and out of 38, they've won 23. They draw 6, lost 9, which is actually a very good one for Man United, and they were able to score. They were able to score at least over 60 something or 50 something goals, over 50 goals this season in the Premier League. And that is, let's just say, overall 61% win for United in Erik ten Hag's first season. I think is actually a good one. Yes, right. I don't want to say excellent because I think on the team, they're not yet there. They're not really convincing yet. But hopefully next season, they'll be able to do well. And then to Liverpool. I give Liverpool... I'll say they had a poor season, very poor, because as a last season they finished second behind Man City. So we were all expecting Liverpool to do exceedingly more than what they did last season, but then they proved us wrong. They did below par, and we didn't expect a team that finished second that were in they almost won a quadruple to finished below top 4 this season. I think they had a very poor season. I think the only trophy they were able to lift is the seven of that only trophy. Yeah, that's just it.
So
and then Brighton. Oh my God, Brighton! I give them excellent 10, but 10 over 10, 100 over 100, 20, just whatever it is. I'm giving it to that team. They're so good.
Wow.
Brighton, wow, no one actually expected to see a team like Brighton doing so well. For me, I was thinking, oh, okay, all right, this season maybe they'll be fighting relegation, but they actually did beyond our expectation. They qualified for Europa League for the first time in the history of the club, despite Potter, the man who had been behind who had placed and built a system, a great system with Brighton. So we're expecting that after he left, probably Brighton will fall. But no, they even left, despite that some players left, but they were able to build around those players, and they did extremely well. Honestly, Brighton is 10 over 10 for me, and excellent. I want to quickly say something about Erik ten Hag. I don't know what he's going to do by next season. I just pray he start using all those young players. I've actually noticed that he doesn't use more of the young players. The only young players he can actually rely on is Garnacho. We have Pelestri. You need to bring him in. Needs to bring okay the what is this name? Oh my god! It actually just skipped my that plays on loan at Sunderland. I pray you
Amad
can bring him in.
Amadiano.
Amadialo.
Yeah, Madialo. Yes. So I pray you can bring him in and build United around those things. I just feel next season United should play without any pressure. They shouldn't think about winning trophy. Fine, that was actually one of the things, but they shouldn't play with any pressure. Build the team, make sure the team he gets to have his team. It took Ateta 3 seasons for him to get to where Arsenal are today. So
All
for
right.
those 3 teams, I think they was good, poor, excellent.
All right. That's Margaret. That's Margaret Thatcher for you. I'm moving on to this great team, the best team in the whole world. I'm going to start with you, Okwe Adebari. With your club, you are having a score. What's your score at this moment? Okwe, please tell me something about this great club. They fought, they conquer, but at the end, it is what it is.
Yeah, so despite, should I say, a disappointing end to the season, it was a very, very good season for Arsenal Football Club. If I'm talking about the post-Wenger era, this has been the best season for Arsenal. So, I mean, first of all, they acquired the same number of points that they did during the Invincible season. What else? They had 3 players in the top 10 goal scoring charts in the EPL. There were so many accolades actually. Arsenal also has been the only team to win every London derby in one season. So that's fantastic for me. There are a lot of positives to come out of it. And Bukayo Saka played almost every minute for Arsenal. Same thing with Gabriel Magalhaes. So it's just an Arsenal team that has been progressing in the right way under Mikel Arteta. Obviously, they are not perfect. They didn't win a trophy this season, but compared to the team which finished in 5th position, the only big team which Arsenal lost to in the Premier League this season was Manchester City. So that says a lot for me. That says
They lost to Man United also.
Oh yeah, they lost to Man
Well,
United away. They lost to
yeah.
Man United away. So
Please
yes,
remember
Yeah.
that one, please.
all right.
Please.
So the only team
Please
that beat
try.
Arsenal, exactly. The only team that beat
Brighton also beat Arsenal at Emirates. I just want to remind you.
Brighton for now is not one of the big boys. You know, they are not one of the big
Oh.
boys. They've not gone
Oh,
into
so
upper
you're actually
echelon.
talking about the big boys, right?
Yes, I'm talking about the big boys. So Brighton is not there yet.
All
So I mean,
They play. You're just
No.
looking for what to console
no,
yourself.
but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the same way a couple of years ago, some people dared to say Spurs and Leicester have now taken over from Arsenal in the top 6. I mean, what an atrocity to no, please. I don't let me speak too much English. So just going back to talking about the big boys, Arsenal being one of the big boys, it was a fantastic season for them. They did very well. And you only expect them to get better. You expect Champions League football next season. You expect them to go ahead and get good players to strengthen the squad and to only stride on from there. So it was a good season for Arsenal. It's an 8.
It's an 8. All right, moving on to the next one. Everton. Kunle, what are you going to talk? What are you going to say about Everton this season? What's your rating on this club, Everton?
I would give them.
Look at the rating.
I would give Everton a 6. I might want to be tempted to give Everton an 8.
See where they finish, oh.
No.
17.
Yeah, yes. Now, like I said, I will be tempted.
Well, please look the table very well.
Table
Please.
well, oh.
Look
17.
them well before you give them.
Look at the rating, no. You say average.
No
Hey.
way. Let's
Look table well, oh.
And Robbie will be there.
Let him be there. That's why I said I don't want to be tempted to give them an 8, right? But I will give them a 6. And it is simple, okay? Everton standards have dropped from those years of David Moyes when they were always top 10 finishers, that they were even going for the Europa League is long gone. They've been bottom half finishers, and you've been seeing that for the past like 2-3 seasons. They've been flirting close to the relegation zone. Now they were on the cusp of relegation again this season. If this person had stayed on, if Frank Lampard had stayed on, I'm very sure maybe they would have relegated. They didn't relegate last season. He saved them from relegation with one game left, who I remember, right? But things didn't work out for them. And they brought in Sean Dyche, a man who knew how to get big results, even against big teams. When he was at Burnley, we all saw how Burnley used to trouble the big teams there. And we saw what he did in his first game. Arsenal, he beat Arsenal, who were leading the table by a considerable distance over Man City. He beat them 1-0. And then he got some other important wins, like beating the Brighton that we've given 10/10. He beat them 5-1. So he picked up important wins for Brighton that ensured that, look, on that final day of the season, they were going to be it is the likes of Leicester City and Leeds United that were going to be chasing, not them, because there was probably going to be that confidence that, look, whichever way it comes, we are going to get this win. We've done it against Arsenal, we've done it against Brighton, we've done it against certain teams, we can do it. And you saw that goal from Doucouré. Brilliant goal. And you saw with the way the Goodison Park crowd were really behind them. So I just feel that, look, Everton, they had already gotten the vital points that got them to where they were. So for that, I will give them a 6 for their season.
A 6 for Everton. So we've talked about Arsenal, we've talked about Everton. Now, because of our time, we're going to stop at Spurs. Same time next week, we'll continue with the Rate Your Team for this season. We all know that the season has ended at England, but the game is still going on at Serie A and La Liga and English. That's what's it called? League One. The FA Cup.
Okay, League One. Yeah, League One. They played the final today. League One played they played their final today, and I think Sheffield Wednesday won. They beat Barnsley. So Sheffield Wednesday have been promoted to the championship.
Yeah, actually, I'm coming to that that will be the last discussion we're going to have. I'm going to call on Okwe. I want you to talk about Spurs. What's their score before Margaret to give the verdict for the three clubs we are going to wrap up for the day. Spurs, Okwe, what do you feel about Spurs this season?
I think it was a 6. I'll be very, very honest. At the start of the season, I was one of those who predicted that Spurs could probably end up in the top 5 or so. I know I didn't include them in the top 4, but I think it was a poor season because they did not live up to expectations.
Well, you said 6.
Yes, I said 6. Yeah, they didn't live up to expectations because you would have expected Spurs to fight for a Champions League position and maybe end up in 4th place, but finishing 8th is quite terrible. It's quite bad for them. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're not in the second half of the table like some other teams in London. Well, not mention. But
don't mention.
Yes. But at the beginning of the season, we expected better from Spurs. With Antonio Conte at the helm, having one whole transfer window to himself. But it seems like he wasn't able to get in good quality players. Apart from that, simply, it was just according to Conte in his own words, they are quite lackadaisical as Spurs. They are good with the status quo, and it seems they don't want more. And I think that was quite evident when Daniel Levy sacked Jose Mourinho a week before a cup final. So, yes, Spurs, you expected better from Spurs to secure Champions League football, or to probably go for a trophy with the likes of Richarlison on the bench and whatnot. Richarlison, who only scored 1 Premier League goal, by the way.
Can you imagine?
And took off his shirts at least 5 times. But, that's Spurs for you. And I'm not surprised, but I would be realistic. It was simply a 6 for them.
All right, 6 for them. Let's move on. I want you to, Margaret, to give us the verdict on Arsenal, Everton, and Spurs. Go for it, Mag.
Okay, I will start with Arsenal. I would say, if not for the fact that they bottled the league, I would have given them a 10.
Wow.
They would have had an excellent season, yes, because this in a long while, this is the first time we'll be seeing Arsenal doing so greatly, being at the top four, and then they were able to give their all. Then they get to a certain point, they became the Arsenal we all knew, the normal Arsenal, the bottle of everything. So I will say they had a good season for Everton, right?
Yeah, Everton.
Yeah, they had a very, very poor season. Very poor season. I think it takes, if not for the miracle of the final day, by now we would have been talking about Everton in the championship. So they had a very poor season, very, very poor season. They have good players in that squad, but they had England #1 goalkeeper. They had some players who have played in the World Cup. Then what went wrong? They also brought in at least, let's say they had. You know what? I would never believe that this is an Everton that actually had an Ancelotti once as a coach who managed this team. It actually I'm actually surprised that it is this same Everton that had to wait until the final day to escape relegation. So very poor season. And for Spurs, they had average. I just say they had average. But my own average is not the 6 average. I will give them a 5. I will give them a 5, please.
Why you say 5? Why did you say 5?
Come on.
Their performance.
In terms of performance, and then despite that they've scored this season, I think they've scored close to 70 goals this season, but that goals hasn't taken them to anything compared to Man United that have scored over 50 goals, and then they've scored close to 70 goals, but it didn't actually take them anywhere. They've been very poor at home. They've been poor both home and away, very poor this season, and they had a very good manager, Conte, which when he went there, I was actually furious that, come on, United, can't they go for this man? Why can't they sack Kunle as a den and let Conte? So I was there. We were all expecting Spurs to be a force in the Premier League, to be at least fight for the Premier League, but we were all surprised that they didn't do very well. So that's why I'm giving them a 5. I'm giving them a 5. Despite you see the likes of Harry Kane struggling, they actually tried in that goal. You saw the likes of they have good players, but what is actually wrong with Tottenham is what actually I don't understand. So average for me, not 5, not 6 average, but 5 average.
All right, I'm going to call on Prof. Prof, they said, what do you want to say about sports? Because I remember at some points you love sports, you love what they're doing, especially the former coach that was sacked. So, what's your own submission about sports this season?
For me, I think we're really doing these big teams. We're reducing the standards. For me, in the way we're rating these teams, to be honest, because even these are big teams that are in 4 comps. Even for Arsenal, that a lot of people are giving, I'm hearing 10, I'm hearing 8. Where these are teams that competed in 4 competitions and they've been trophyless. Same with Spurs. Spurs were in 4 competitions and they were trophyless and they ended up 8th, with no trophy, with no European football, with all the money, with all the talent in that sport. It's a poor season for Spurs. It's not average, it's poor. It's ridiculously poor. Even Conte came out and said it. That's the top manager that's put all the blame on, came out and said these players they are not working well enough. They are not. They don't want to give the club their all. They're not trying enough. So for me, it's a ridiculously poor season for Spurs. And I think, like I said, some of these bigger clubs as well, they've gone trophyless. We shouldn't be giving them high numbers like that. I think apart from City and United, I don't really think, and the Brightons and Newcastles, I don't think the remaining top teams deserve any credit, in my opinion.
All right. This is how far we can go today, but then I want you, Sheye, tell us something about this team that promoted to the Premier League, Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton Town. What are your expectation on these 3 teams coming in from Championship? Over to you, Sheye.
Well, in all honesty, I can't say much about Sheffield United. Just that we remember they came to the Premier League a couple of years back and spent about 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I have not followed their time in the Championship. But as for Burnley and Luton Town, Burnley have done so well under Vincent Company in the last year because he has gone there, he has revamped their style. They play more open, expansive football. We all know that that's likely to be met with some heavy defeats in the big time because they are likely to face teams that are of a higher level technically, so they might suffer some heavy defeats. But I feel they'll add to the list of teams that actually try to play open and expansive football. So I'm actually quite curious to see how they fare next year in the Premier League. As for Luton Town, I saw the game on Saturday, and I didn't see them in the Championship, but I saw them on Saturday. And if the style that they played on that day is how they actually approach games,
They are very strong.
they actually play. They tend to just send long balls forward to their frontmen. So that will be an interesting style. Let's see if it actually translates well in the Premier League. I personally feel it's way too basic to be effective, but it might obviously cause problems for some sides in the league. So I guess that will be an interesting thing to observe. So but I believe they are going to go straight down next season though.
All right. This is how far we can go, guys. Please, if you are watching this for the first time,
Prof,
subscribe.
I mean, the Don.
All right, man.
Please, can I quickly say something about Luton Town? I just saw some very interesting facts about them, that they're actually the first football team to return to the top tier of English football after successive relegation down to the 5th tier of English football. I think that has never happened. No team has ever gone down there and come back to the Premier League.
Wow.
They're actually the first team to do that. Good one for them.
Massive info from Margaret there. Please big up, smash the like on the video for that great woman. I call her Margaret Thatcher of ISTV. No shakings. Everybody, we want to wrap up the show right now. Kunle, thanks for joining us on this show.
Thanks so much, Zidane.
All right, one love.
Once again. Thank you.
All right, smash the like on the video for Kunle. Kunle is signing out. It's going back to Oshodi right now. It's on its way. All right, one love, bro. One love,
Thanks.
man. All right, Robbie, I want to sign you out. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time today.
All right, Prof. One love as usual.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, John.
All right, okay. All the way from United Kingdom. What's going on, bro? I feel you, my brother, anytime, any day. Thanks so much, bro.
Always a pleasure to be on ISTV, the Don.
All right, one love, bro. Yeah. Thanks so much, man. Transfer windows is approaching. I think we have to start looking at how we're going to be doing a transfer show, be everyday thing or twice in a week. So, Shaye, thanks for joining us on this show.
Yeah, no problem, it's done. Always a pleasure.
All right, one love, bro. This is how far I can go tonight, baby. That is sign out. It's been a fantastic moment. Please join us. Subscribe to the channel. INTERCONTINENTAL SPORTS TV. All right, people, I gotta go.
Subscribe now.